Yes, I think we are live. I'll just share the link. Okay, so I think we are live. Yes, we are live. Hey everybody, today here we with me I have Francesco here. So how have you been, Francesco? It's been long time.
I've been I've been great and just went back for a run because I had to have this live stream. So I'm ready. I'm pumped. I want to catch up with all the news. You gave me some sneak peek, but I want to know more in this open conversation. And please
Yeah,
give me the link so I can share it in the meanwhile, and then
yeah,
we can start have a nice conversation. And yeah,
yeah.
let's enjoy.
I've already shared the link. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay, so this is the live. Perfect. Okay, while I share it, in the meanwhile, we can start.
yeah, yeah.
And hi, everyone.
So like there have particularly guys, this particular live session was to kind of talk technically on the stuffs that have been putting up all over the world. Crazy things have been happening over the last week. We had the Nvidia GTC event where they launched something called Blue, and it was something very crazy. And I was like, hey Francesco, let's come live and let's talk about the stuffs, and not to be not anything, nothing to be scripted, but it was just like a heart to heart conversation between two tech nerds. And yeah, I think with the increasing amount of the stuff that have been going up right now, um, particularly talking about the students who are in the college right now, because I have been passed out, and I have been like, it's been 7 months I have passed out. So there are some points that I would like to discuss. And according to you people, what I have been hearing is people say like the market is very bad right now. And what I think is market is not bad, it's just that some things have been come up. Like there are some new things that have been introduced, and people are not ready to accept the new things. Like if we talk about AI, if we talk about, let's say, Nvidia GPUs, there are a lot of core subjects that have been introduced now, and they have been coming into trend a lot. So, what are your thoughts on that? Like, what should anyone who is like a fresher, or who is like starting out of their starting out their career, what should they do?
Yes, so first, in the meanwhile, I was just sharing this, and let me introduce me real quick for people who don't know me. So I'm Francesco. I am Docker captain, public speaker, content creator. I've been been focused on Rust recently. I'm also writing a book, many things. I also work in developer relations and so on. Hi, oh my god. Ari Krishan. Hope that I pronounced that correctly.
Yeah, yeah, Hare
I want
Krishna.
this. First of all, I want this live to be very interactive. So feel free to drop your questions, introduce yourself. I don't want this to be just a monologue. Okay. So what's my point of view? My point of view is that AI and the whole software engineering ecosystem is changing quickly, maybe a bit too quick for a human being. That's the real issue because if you remember, like I don't know, when like 1,000 years ago, life it was changing when we went, for example, from the Bronze Age to the Iron Age, but it was not in the lifespan of a human being. They were also living way less. So and still, in like a person can just live their own life. It changes were happening in generations, so there's not an issue. Now the problem is that what we do today is something that 20 years ago was not even like maybe it was in some movies. So if a lifespan of a career is 40 years, We need to be prepared to very quick changes. And if we don't adapt, and you know that the older you get, the less you want to adapt, because that's the nature of
Yeah.
your grandfather. Like at some point in life, you stop. Maybe you should not, but let's say the majority of people, because maybe they get busy with life, families, responsibilities. So at some point, you maybe stop being curious, and you just just want to do your day-to-day job. It's fine. You provide a salary to your family, and that's it. Sadly, this is not possible anymore in tech. So we need to evolve at least with the pace of our career our career span. Okay, and then
Hmm.
probably during retirement, probably we can enjoy our life. So that's the big issue. It's because there's nothing wrong with the evolution of things. Is that it's happening a bit too quickly. So people, I don't know. Let's say, let's imagine. Just let's pretend that now someone for 3 years they haven't never used AI, which could be possible. I don't know. For 3 years, I never used, for example, a JavaScript framework. That was fine. But now, if you haven't used AI for 3 years, you'll probably start falling behind very quickly.
Yeah.
That's the big issue. How we solve this? We need to dedicate some time during the day to this. We can't ignore it. So that's it. Like maybe we could ignore some new stuff 3 years ago in tech. Now it's no more like we can't pretend that that is not happening, because otherwise
Hmm.
after
Yeah.
2 years you say what's going on, why my abilities are not more relevant, because you
Hmm.
need to dedicate more time and understand what skills are important.
Yeah. Yeah. I think at this point of time, also, skills play a major role. Like, many of the students would think like, no, no, academics play a major role. Like, you have to have 8 pointers in your academics. So many of the students that I talk, they are like, no, no, bhaiya, it's like 8 pointer you should have. Apart from that, you should only focus on the academics as of now. So what I say to them is like, I am not a guy who had good academics schedule. I had an average of 7.5 pointers. So what made things go well was the right amount of skill set at the right amount of time. And I think at this point of time, you should have a skill which is in demand right now. And the only reason why people are not getting jobs at this point of time is they are not ready to accept AI. And I think one of the thing is like the knowledge that they have is like 50%. They don't have complete knowledge on things, and people just make decision based on the partial knowledge that they are getting. So, like, what are your thoughts on that? What should be done for this?
Yes, again, the problem is that things are happening so fast that sometimes we didn't even have time to understand a proper strategy. This is why, first of all, we should understand the ecosystem, probably check some talks, check some videos, and understand the technology. Then, depending on how much you want to go into the technical side, it's fine, but we should at least have a good knowledge of, I don't know, the models that have been released, what's going on, which are the favorite models, which are the probably the good models for developers, because I mean AI is touching any human being. Maybe you're interested, I don't know, in models that are easy to use for developers, the models that performs well with coding.
Yeah.
So not just a generic AI to do some receipts that I also use, but
Hmm.
also something that is focused on the coding part and the integration with the whole developer experience.
Yeah. And like, I particularly want to discuss as like from a developer to developer point. um I have been creating a lot of projects. So initially I was into web development, full stack development. Then I am switching towards AI, like learning about AI, learning about LLMs, learning about NLPs and stuff. So the major issue for people in India, or we can say students in India, is that they don't find ideas to create projects. Like back in our college days, we have to create projects in every semester. We have 8 semesters, so the syllabus is like you have to create a project in every semester. And people sometimes run out of ideas, like what should we create. So they tend to create Amazon clone, they tend to create Google Meet clone. But the issue is they just create it just for the namesake of like giving up the project, and they don't focus on like why the project is made, or what are the fundamentals, what are webhooks that are being called. So according to you, like whenever a person is or student is creating a project, what are the key things that they should keep in mind while creating or ideating that particular project?
Yes, so first of all, good luck if you are for a student, of course, I've been there. And I will start listing all my problems, maybe the ones that I maybe there are some applications that I don't know if they exist or not. So I will start listing the problems, and I'm sure that the list will not be short. I mean, you can even make add some some that you think that AI or any project could not solve. So I will tell you the
Hmm.
problem. That's the first step. The second step, I will look for solutions to my problems. Maybe you will not find a good idea for your project, but maybe you will find some solutions to your problems, and then you will have more time to dedicate to your project. So if you solve your
Yeah.
problems, even if it's not a good idea for a project, is nice. So that's the second step. And then if you start using um, some tools that are solving your problems, first of all, you can get inspired, because inspiration doesn't come from just closing your eyes and just trying to imagine. You need to think about, I don't know, a drawer. They don't get
Yeah.
inspired just by closing their eyes. They do the opposite. They go
Hmm.
and check out the environment. So you need the inputs from the outside. So you need to check these applications. You need to make a list maybe of what you will do differently.
Hmm.
Probably in AWS or Instagram clone, probably they're even easy to recreate. I will do the opposite. I will probably replicate maybe a small application that is solving maybe a very small problem of you. One, if we want to go more in detail on our good tip, something that works with GPS geolocalization. It's always like, for example, I did many projects with that. It always open up to plan maybe even too many ideas. So, for example, things that works with like, so you have to find the spots that are closest to a specific point with latitude and longitude. I don't know. There's so much about that that I think you will never get short of ideas if you try to do something with like GPS. And we also understand, I don't know, GPS localization, how
Hmm.
I don't know, the Haversine formula to calculate, for example, the distance between 2 points on a sphere. So for example, I did something like that when I did the university. It was a problem. It was like to create some list of point of interest in a
Hmm.
specific city. So that's, for example, I think you'll never get short. Usually, you have so many ideas, and you
Hmm.
can get even database of points and so on. So that's a tip.
Okay. I also think that for like creating projects, what sometimes what I do is I don't go for a problem that is faced by many people. I sometimes go for a problem that I usually face. Let's say there is a thing that I want to create a um, script, automation script, which basically what it does is it gives me the commit message for Git whenever I'm like pushing it on the GitHub. So what I have I done over there is what I'm doing is I have using Olama on my local PC, and whenever I am writing or going with that particular script, what it does is it takes the files which are need to be changed, which are in the staging area, and then it gives to the LLM, and LLM gives me a commit message. So it's like a different project that I think is, and that was one issue that I usually face, because whenever I'm committing something, I'm like, what should I commit exactly? And I'm sometimes out of words, like, no, this should be the right thing or this should not be the right thing. So that's one thing that you can do, is like to figure out a problem on your own that you are particularly facing, and then go with finding out a solution for that. And I had Hari Krishnan with me. He's sitting right here with me, and he had one question. He's just waving hand to you from this side.
Yeah,
So
sure.
uh,
Yeah, sure.
he had some question. He had a question like, "What are your thoughts on the development right now?" Because there are a lot of things which are going in automation, and people usually said that, like, back before 2 years it was said like AI will take your jobs, but it's like still after 2 years AI is still nowhere near to taking the jobs of people. But there is something that the front end development area has kind of reduced the amount of human load that is being done, because there are bolt there is a tool called bolt, there is v0.dev. There are a lot of things that have been come up in the front end development area. So what do you think would be the development domain in the next like 5 to 6 years?
Yeah, first of all, it's very hard to predict how life will be in 5, 6 years. If we try to play this game, we will go back in 2020 and ChatGPT was not even released. So it's very hard to give a prediction in 5 years, maybe in 2 years. What I will do is that first option is to give up. So this is an option if you want just to give up and just quit. But I will not give up that. I will not give up that easily. I don't know if you ever saw the Terminator movie, so I will not give up that easily. And jokes aside, I would embrace. This is the only thing we can do. So either we adapt or die. Like let's go to the like a very animal instinct thing is that we should adapt to the new technologies. So you have two options. You get stubborn and just do your own repetitive tasks. In that case, you will be replaced. Another option is to adapt, learn LLMs, learn the tools, learn the things, because probably AI and software will still be here in 5 years. I think we can agree with that.
Yeah,
Software will not be stopped being written, even if the Anthropic CEO said that there will not be more developers in 6 months. But then, if you check the Anthropic AI career, they are looking for software engineers. So
yeah,
doesn't make much sense. The thing is that we need to understand things, and this is the job of the developers. It's not, probably not a job for everyone. It's not if you want boring job, probably it's being a developer is not for you. Being a developer it means to be curious, to be ready to adapt quickly. But this is what makes this job so entertaining. So if you we should be happy that so many things are happening, because especially if you are new, you have an advantage to compare the two people maybe that have been doing things in a different way. No, it's like it's like do you know some there are some games like some MMORPG, and
yeah,
if you start playing late, you're probably you start at level 1, everyone is at level 100. But if you start playing, then you catch up, and when there is a new expansion, probably you can catch up even quicker. And that's a very similar analogy. So now AI is like an expansion pack. So now it's time, if you focus now, you can probably go ahead of other people. You can be on the front in the front line. The thing is that you need to commit. But I think we all agree that this is the things that will change maybe in the way they are written. But we are not talking about something that is going, like something that disappear. I don't know, like the car has been invented, then horses will be way less used. By the way, horses are still here. Probably they are less used compared to 200 years ago. But we are not talking about that whole replacement, because it's just in the way the software is written. And probably we will write bigger, bigger software projects. That's the only difference. So that's my point of view. So if you want to give up, there will be one less developer. But it's up to you.
completely agreed. We do have some chats. We have Yash Ganar. Let's go. And we have Aditya Shah who is telling, I totally agree. If you're not curious about tech, then you might not be at the right place. Correct. Because tech is a place, I think it's like for the curious people, it's like for the creative people, because it's like, every day, if you see from the last 2 years, every day there is something new coming up. and it for me it feels like I still lag behind from what the current scenario is. But yeah, if as a developer it's your life to dedicate to being curious at the tech area and to learn everything every day. And even if you skip for a single day, it's like a backlash to you, because for a single day also there are new things that come up.
It's like a it's like at school, like you miss one day and everything happens.
Yeah, you have to revise everything every day, so that when the viva comes to give to your faculty, so you get a good score. And here in terms of score you get good money. I believe instead of fearing AI, you should use AI and be one step ahead. I may be wrong, but this is what I believe. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
and
that's good.
yeah, and for example, also what Aditya is doing is great because, for example, dedicate some time to make some videos, make some live streams. This takes time, okay? But I think that in the whole, let's say, coding now is not like coding 50 years ago. 50 years ago, probably it was easier. You just code every day, you know, the classic stereotype. Now, probably that kind of person might struggle in nowadays because they need also to show up to create things to stay aligned. Of course, it's usually a balance, no? And I like what you say that like you feel that you're lacking behind because that's exactly how you feel when you start learning new things. The only way to don't suffer is to learn nothing. So if you learn nothing, you live a happy life. You even don't even know. I mean, if you didn't don't even know what the ChatGPT is, you probably live a happy life. Probably you are a farmer somewhere, and probably I'm a bit jealous of those people. And they live probably a way happier life. The more you start learning, the more you understand that you know nothing. There are new models, so you feel that you're lucky, but you are on the right track. At least you are learning that you're lacking, and it's a course, but
Hmm.
that's how it works. So we just need to deal with it and understand that we can't know everything, and just being very intentional of what we want to learn, we don't want to learn. No, for example, now I don't want to learn a new programming language, and now I want to focus on LLMs. So
Hmm.
I don't know you, but the best moments in my life it has been when I said, okay, I don't want to learn this technology now, but instead I want to learn this. Instead, I want to focus on
Hmm.
Docker. Instead, I don't want to learn Rust and Go. I want to just focus on one language. And this is usually
Hmm.
when good things happen to me. When I do less, I end up being more productive, feel that I have more time. So probably removing something that I mean, like now, you can decide that now is not the right moment to learn. You know they exist, but it's not the right
Hmm.
moment. So that's my approach, and for now it worked very well.
Yeah, I also think that's completely correct, because there I had a talk with some of my juniors whom I had been teaching. So like before coding adda, no, not before, just in parallel to coding adda, I had been teaching at a startup. I had been teaching Burn Stack. So they just had a hackathon which was on AI. So they were like, sir, what should we do? So it's like they had idea of, yeah, this is AI, but they thought, no, we have to create LLMs from our own. So I was like, no, that's not the right thing. And that's where the way of interpreting things and the way of understanding things matters, because that's a main myth, we can say. Like, people usually think like, for a come into AI, you need to create your own LLM. I don't think that's the only thing. If
This
you
reminds
even
me.
know.
This reminds me when everyone wanted to create their own blockchain. Maybe they're the same people.
Yeah, yeah, I think they come from the same category. So I usually tell them it's only that if you are able to get the API key and use the API key in a very optimized manner, that's the thing that will actually get you stand out from, let's say, a room of 100 people. So yeah, we also have one comment from Hari. Sir, everyone is talking about the situation of a student and an extreme professional who is 5 to 10 years in development career. But what to do when you are working in a company and you feel stuck in your growth?
Yeah, I can answer. So first of
Yeah, yeah,
all,
sure.
if you are working in a company, probably you are ahead on 80% of the people. So I would be So you have two options. Like everything in life, you can be positive or negative about a situation. So probably some people would will sell everything they have to be in your position that you already have a job. So instead of feeling that you don't have time and feel stuck in growth, take this as an opportunity. You have an income, and now you can relax and you can dedicate to your growth. What do you think, Aditya? I think this is like he's objectively in a good position compared to many people who are still looking for a job. They are struggling. So I think it's all about life. You can be positive or negative. I think our position is probably in the top 50% for sure, top 25% maybe.
Yeah. I think about the thing. Because here I cannot actually comment because I am not a one who is like into the corporate world for a more time. It's been
Mhm.
just 7 months I have joined the corporate. So yeah, I think Hari would be able to understand a lot from what you said right now.
Yeah, first of all, if you are working for a company, it means that you are a professional. It means that you are paid to learn, basically. So this is a dream for many people because probably getting your first job in tech is what 80% of the people is trying to do because it's like getting a professional in music or getting a professional in football. Once you get paid to do your job, you are a great step ahead because now you get money. With money, usually you sleep better. I don't know you, but usually I sleep better. You can solve some minor issues of your life. You can buy a motorcycle. You can solve your problems. Money don't buy happiness, but they can buy, for example, a boiler. If you or you can buy a nice motorcycle. That doesn't bring happiness, but you can solve some of your issues. So probably you can buy with that money, with your salary, you can buy some happiness, you can buy some time. If instead of doing a very tedious job, you can pay someone to do it. Now you can pay someone to clean your house. You can pay someone to get some food. So that's a great point of view. And um, and about growth, I think growth is like, let's say, getting more familiar in playing an instrument or in a specific skill. So if you dedicate even 30 minutes, 1 hour a day, that's great because I mean, even if you just listen to AI LLM technical videos, I don't know, during the evening, instead of watching Netflix, you do dedicate 30 minutes to Netflix, 30 minutes to learn something new. That's
Okay.
I don't know. I think that's you are in in position. I mean, most of the people probably will be are jealous now.
Correct. We do have one more comment. Fresher related issue. Some freshers need to know AI is a helper. AI is a helper, not the coder. Relying on it for big projects is like riding a toy car to another city. You won't get far.
Today is the day of
100% agreed.
analogy. Today is the day of analogies. So I'm sure I will be one of those boring grandfather who say, "I remember we were coding on keyboards, like on physical keyboards, like mind blowing, like things, something like we were doing a git push on the terminal, something crazy." Um, I don't know how we can avoid freshers to use AI too much. I don't think that telling them to not use him will have. I think will have the opposite effect. So it's like everyone, if you say like don't do that, they say okay, so I'll just use AI for everything because that old guy said to not do that. I'll say just one thing for freshers. You need this is very important as a developer. You need to be in control. You need to understand what's going on. If you create a folder, if you create a file on Windows or on Mac, you should know that there is a command that can also create that file, like touch on Linux,
Hmm.
for example. So, and at that point, it's not more an issue, but you need to know what's going on behind the scenes. So, if you if some days you are lazy and say you want to create a CRUD or REST API and you let the AI to write it, but you should understand what are the HTTP codes, why that, which libraries it's using. So you should be double the curious than someone writing that code their own. You should, otherwise you are out of control. And once you have to modify one single line, you don't know what's going on. So at least you should use AI to spend some time saying, okay, this is great. Why this? Why this? So you need it. Otherwise you have some code which is the equivalent of getting that code from a Stack Overflow forum, but without understanding what's going on. There's not much difference.
Yeah.
The importance is understand what's going on. So not physically write letter by letter, but
Hmm.
understand. I don't know. This is a remove. This is, I don't know. This method is updating or creating a new user. So we should understand. That's the
Okay.
important part.
I have a one question. It's like, um, if you would talk, or if you would have a point to talk, what would it be, experience or would it be skills? Because what I think in the tech world, I think experience matters when it comes to like your promotions to a management level. But what I think is skills is like the topmost priority. So what are your thoughts? Like, would you go for experience or would you go for a skillful guy?
Yes, I think that you need both of them. So the skills are something that I don't know. It's like asking like you want to hire a good player for your football team. Does he need to be skilled or experienced?
Yeah.
Experience is nice, but skill is something that you can't you can not have because this is
Hmm.
that's the basic. That should be the very basics. Experience that comes with doing the things and applying your skills in different environments. So without the skill, you will not get the experience. And I think both of them are useful. I think that the skills are something that are a bit harder to teach. Let's say so if I need to hire someone, probably I will go with someone with skilled first, but it really depends on the project because also you
Okay.
can have a lot of experience, but it depends on the project. So and I would recommend also to be very focused on very few skills and I don't know, be very experienced in I don't know React or even as a single library or because this is what probably will get you a
Okay.
their first job. So being very skilled in few things usually is better than I don't know. I can play in any role in football. That
Hmm.
probably will not get you to the Premier League or cricket or whatever. I don't know the roles in cricket, but
Yeah.
usually you look for a specific role. You don't
Yeah.
look for a generic cricket player. There are some specific
Yeah.
skills that you are looking for. Am I right or wrong? I don't know exactly how it works, but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's like
suppose that
either
there
you are a
are
ball.
roles. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like either you are a bowler or a batsman, and there are like few people out of the team of 11 that who are all rounders. So you can't
Yes.
be all rounders
Mhm.
in the team.
Yes, but we are giving tips to beginners. Of course, if you are an exceptional player, I'm sure that if Cristiano Ronaldo plays as a goalkeeper, he can do good things better than the average person. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
probably he could adapt because he is an extraordinary. But we're giving tips to beginners. So I would rather prefer to be a good bowler rather than being a mediocre all around because it means that you don't know what to do. Then
Yeah.
if you are on another level, at that point, probably the thing is that I'm sure that people who are great in both roles, they've been a professional for many years, so they had the time while being professional to learn the skills that they are lacking most. Let's say that you work
Okay.
as a backend engineer, and then you come back at home and you still have some time to learn front end skills. That's perfect because you are being paid to do the backend stuff, and then you are learning the front end skills. And in that case, you will be
Mm,
a roundabout person. So
yeah.
that's my point of view.
Okay. I'm sure, Francesco, you are familiar with this new term, vibe coding. I need to ask something. I believe you might also use AI while coding. And he has another question. The next one is: does using AI while coding reduce your logical thinking?
Okay, so what to answer this one? So again, it's all about our mindset. It's all about how we use this information, because otherwise I don't know, like letting if you watch just something you will never learn. So I would say that it depends on the approach. As I said, probably now being even more curious and skeptical about everything AI writes is a good skill to have. So otherwise, you are like the person who were like copy pasting random Linux commands from forums 10 years ago. So if you don't know what's going on, probably you end up messing up your PC or even worse. So it's all about the approach. It's like saying now that you invented cars, we'll be less fit because we will walk less. It doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. It doesn't make sense. Is It's all about how we use that. So AI is a powerful tool, maybe a very powerful tool. So we can't ignore it. And
Hmm.
I don't think it reduces the logical thinking. It can be. It's like saying, I remember in the 90s when Google came out, said, okay, now people will start searching for things because now there is Google. But this is not what happened. Like we
Yeah.
didn't stop searching. Probably we are searching more things now. We know now how to use that tool. But I see an analogy on when search engine were released in 19, because people say, okay, now that we have search engine, we just let search engine to do our choices to choose our life. That's
Yeah.
sort of normal. Just we just need to, now we know, probably the average person, they know how to Google stuff, and they know that it's a tool we can use. Probably they are still critical. Like if Google recommends some links, you still don't know if you click it or not. So we need to be very critical in that way. Which one was the other question?
It was kind of a same one. He had just put it up in two chats. So we have one more question. When we develop any project, what is the point when need to understand that we need to work in the business logic? Okay.
When we develop any project, what is the no okay we develop any project, what is the point? When the point when we need to understand that we need to work in the business logic. um, but compared to what? I don't know, on UI, compared on something else, because I think business logic is the core. For example, for example, from my point of view, I start with the business logic because I'm more a DevOps guy, and then I add the UI and the experience at the end. Um, I would say that that's probably the first part. From my approach, I like to have something. It's like which is the basic operation, and then based on that, I add everything. What are those? Okay. The thoughts on vibe code. So that's the thing.
Okay.
So first of all, I still haven't done a vibe coding session. This will come soon on my channel, of course. I'm glad that we found like a nice term, but for this, again, it depends. Like it depends. First of all, we still need to understand exactly what happens if we leave a product. If we leave everything to the AI, for example, for me, vibe coding without even having an idea, it's a bit like I don't know, like randomly. It's like vibe searching. It's like searching random stuff on Google. Does it make sense? If you're bored, for probably it makes sense, but I don't know if it's worth like I don't know a live stream of me like searching everything that comes up in my mind. So I think that we should, if I will ever do a live stream when I'll build something, first of all I will use AI to find the idea. I don't think we can skip this. So I'll use it like I have these issues. Let's decide the project. Which one do you think is the easiest to implement? Which one do you think it's something that is doable in 10 hours, doable in 4 hours? So I will start with the idea, because without the idea, we are just doing random stuff, which can also be, I don't know, if you put some lo-fi music, it's fine. And the problem is that if you don't understand what's going on, you are, I don't know, think like you have a car, you want to fix a car. And so vibe fixing is just, I don't know, touching random parts of the car, hoping that this
Yeah.
will turn on. Does it make sense? For a mechanic, it probably doesn't make sense because it says you are not learning. Or let's say vibe playing a card game. If you are playing randomly, you're not
Hmm.
learning. You're just doing random stuff. Now,
Yeah.
this is still better probably than doing nothing. So I want to be optimistic and say, instead of I don't know, watching a movie that you watched 100 times, maybe vibe coding is a bit better because at least you see some code. So I want to be optimistic. I would use
Yeah.
the time more like I would use AI to explain me things. I see many people, they like to use AI just to like regurgitate stuff. I
Hmm.
would usually I have I would have another approach. I would use AI to explain me things. Why this? Why that? I would use it in that way. So for me, the vibe coding session would probably be more like understanding why something has been written, and then I will try, of course, to add some features. But I don't know, having like a 500 lines of code project and you don't know
Hmm.
what is that about. I don't know, I
Hmm.
can't I can't have a project like this. I need to understand. I don't know you, if you are with me, but I need to understand what's going on. Otherwise I can't modify a project if I don't understand what's going on in the whole project, even if it's
Hmm.
written by AI or by another person. So because for example I've been modifying projects written by other people. First step
Hmm.
is to understand. I don't start adding stuff without understanding what the functions are doing, and then that's it. So that's my point of view.
I think like for me, the vibe coding depends on the type of project that I'm making. If the project is not that complex, if it is just like an automation script or it's just like an API that I'm making, I usually put up a song, lo-fi music, and just do my work because I know what I'm doing. But if it includes like no, I have to integrate some AWS or some Docker files or some third-party libraries, so it's like no, I need my focus time to get focused on what I'm building. So we have another question. Francesco, you
Mhm.
talked about growth in every stage of development life. The meaning of growth changes. As an experienced developer, what does growth mean to you?
Growth means that you become more responsible about something. So, for example, let's say that you implement, I don't know, a payment system in an application. Now you know how, I don't know, simple things, how to implement the PayPal payment in an application. You are now an experienced developer in that area because the thing is that now if someone asks you again to implement the similar feature, you can probably do this in 1/10 of the time of the first time by checking the code. You already know which are, you know, the errors, how to implement, which are the bugs, which are the features that they offer. This is growth because you can do more things in less time. This is the thing. Especially, I think experience growth means that you experience the problems, you experience the bugs, you understand the situation. Probably an experienced developer is the developer who helps you to understand, I don't know, why am I still getting this error, this 500 when I use this library, and they probably already experienced the same error and say, ah, I know this because this happened to me. You just need to change this or use this function in a different way, and they basically
Hmm.
solve your problem. So experience comes from solving problems for you or for someone else. So this is um, what an experienced developer and the growth means, that you know how to solve problems. I don't know, a person who has written 100 or 1,000 Docker files, probably they can spot issues or best practice in a better way. So that's my point of view.
Okay. I have one more question. Like, if you see at this point of time, recently we got a news that React is depreciated, and like everyone was going with React, and there are very old technologies like let's say like the VLSI design, like which comes for the NVIDIA like processors, the GPUs, and that include particularly includes C++ and like the core programming, which were like the OGs, we can say the OGs of the programming languages. And the new tech stack that have come across, it's like people are not able to understand what the basics of those things are, because if you want to, let's say if you want to go for Next.js, you need to understand what React is, and to go for React you need to understand what JavaScript is, what is DOM, what is window. And what I am seeing is like everyone is directly jumping from HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then to Next.js. So what are your thoughts on that? What should be done?
Mhm. Yes, so this is a problem, let's say, of newer generations, and I think that I think I'm a bit more open that most of the people say, like, no, of course, maybe you need to start with JavaScript. That would be the in the ideal world, but let's say that. I don't know. You really want to see something on the screen, and maybe there are some people who first they want to see the results and then they come back to the theory. They are the same people who first they do the math exercises and then they go back to the theory eventually. So first they want to see the results. They want to see how things work. Now I think there is nothing so wrong in starting Node.js, but then you should be very curious and go back and understand. That part is important. It's important at least to understand what you are doing. So this is probably a bit an unpopular opinion, but I'll say, do you want to start with Nest.js tutorial before JavaScript, even if the word is telling you to don't do that? It's okay, do that, but then be curious and come back later. So don't skip that part later. So it's a bit like a reverse approach. Like like to first see the result. And maybe you are interested into, I don't know, how our cell deploys stuff. You want to see things on your screen. You don't want to mess up with those boring, I don't know, DOM manipulation. It's fine. Start with JS, and then you still understand things, and then you understand JavaScript and DOM manipulation, and then you come back to Next.js and say, ah, okay, that's it. So probably this is a longer path. So the nice path should be to do first the JavaScript, then React and Next.js. I want to be unpopular and say try Next.js, then React, then JavaScript, then React, and then Next.js. It's a longer path, but if you like this approach, it's fine. But don't skip the part when you come back. That's me.
Okay. What is your go-to project that you use to understand and learn any new tech stack or any programming language?
Yes, I did this on my YouTube channel. So basically, I always do CRUD operation on a web server, and then I connect them using a Docker Compose file to a Postgres database, and then eventually that to a front end. So this is how I understand new technologies, because I like the approach of having a web server you can run, because it's a living application that you can even deploy. So, and this is exactly, for example, what I'm also doing with Rust. So even that's not the normal approach. I like to, for example, use Rust in web development. Does it mean that Rust will absolutely replace everything in web development? Probably not, not soon. But for a web developer, it's nice because you probably know what an API is. You know what does it mean to create and insert in a database. You know what does it mean to get all the results. And if you do this with the Rust syntax, say, okay, now I can understand that how the Rust syntax works. So that's my go-to project. I've done, I think, 20, 30 videos with different technologies and languages, different frameworks with same language. So that's the thank you for letting me promote my YouTube channel, but that was not intentional. But if you ask me how, this is how I do it.
Okay. I made this mistake. I learned React first, then JavaScript. I realized learning JavaScript first would have made understanding React easy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, if you start learning React before JavaScript, when the whole world is telling you to don't do that, then you can't complain. Oh no, I should have. Of course, everyone was saying that, but at least now you learn the React, then JavaScript, and then back to React. But at least you started. So nothing wrong with start with a framework. I think it's a bit unpopular instead of not doing anything at all. But then you need to come back eventually. Eventually, you will need to come back because frameworks are written on the language. So when there is a new JavaScript framework, if you know the basics, you will understand. Okay, you'll even understand. Okay, what what is the problem that this framework is trying to solve? Because otherwise, you'll just try that because an influencer told you to try that.
Hmm.
But instead, you should understand. No, this is solving the problem of lazy loading files. Nice, great. I know what lazy loading is, and this framework is saving me time, so it's worth learning. Otherwise, you don't
Uh,
know. You just follow the hype, and you know. And as I said, you're always short on time, so you need to be very intentional. Let's say, okay, this new framework is just I don't know, saving handling lazy loading, but I can do this also with my framework. I know with this library, I don't need this framework now. This is an example, just out of the blue, of course.
okay. How can Docker influence a developer mindset?
It can corrupt your mind. No, no. Jokes aside, Docker is probably one of my favorite technologies because it gives you abstraction. It gives you abstraction, and it's not tied to a specific technology. If tomorrow there will be another programming language, probably we will have the Docker image of that language. So you see how Docker is agnostic. And we need this in tech, in a world when everything is just something that we need to learn, something that um, it's not like something which is a time proof, I would say. Docker is a very time proof technology. Consider that Docker has been, I think, if I'm not wrong, 2013 has been created. If I'm not wrong, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, Docker. So 12 years is a lot. It's like another era in tech, and it's still here, solving our lives. So this is, I think, that it's a technology that it's independent from a framework, independent from the operating system, even the architecture, like x64 or ARM, for example, which is mind blowing from my point of view. That you can do things transparently between different architectures. That's, for example, it's a big plus for me. So this is and it helps you to deploy anything, and you are not tied to anything specific. Now I'm learning Rust. I create a Rust Docker project. I was working with Node.js, Docker with Node. So this is how you can have something that can be deployed everywhere. And I think this is fascinating because at least we have something which is sure in our life as a developer. Otherwise, we will never be have something which is let's say sure and stable. So that's it.
Yeah. So, what is your developer workflow?
I use ChatGPT and just let the vibe coding everything. No, what is your? Don't cut this answer now. It was a joke. What is your
No, no.
what is your developer workflow? It depends on the project. Usually, I start always with the backend, and then I write the front end. So usually I do backend, Dockerize the backend, then the front end. If it makes sense, Dockerize the front end, or I use Vercel, and then UI, CSS. Is the things that I like the last. So of course it goes at the least. So I think things that I do last. But this is my process. I use Postman or any other tool to try the API. This is for our web
Okay.
server, of course. It depends on the it depends on the application, of course. But usually, I always like to have some API and some logic. It will be a bit weird for me to start with the design of a website. Probably some people they do the opposite. They start with the design of the website, and then based on the design, then they create they implement the logic.
Okay. I think for me also, I also follow the same rule that you follow. Like I particularly start with backend, and with this, I'll answer this question as well. Is there any specific reason why you start with backend? I'll just tell my point, then I'll ask you. Like what I think is creating APIs is one of the biggest challenges. Like until and unless your API is correct, until and unless you are able to get the data that you particularly want to store it or want the API to take, until and unless that is not correct or that is not the way you want it, your application won't run. Because if you only create the front end, it's just like you have a static website. But to make it dynamic, you need to have the APIs running perfectly fine the way you want it, the in the method you want it. And that's the reason why I particularly start with creating the backend, and then I go with the front end.
Yeah, in my case, it's because I really hate CSS, so I start with something that this is I think that I want to do as a last thing. So this is the reason I want. For me, for me, I like to see something which for me some people maybe they really need like a website with some shiny colors. So that will probably distract my whole workflow. So I need to do this as the last point, and then probably I need to come back and change something. Of course, it depends on the application we are creating. We are just generally speaking about web development now, so we'll stick to that.
Okay. Nvim, VS Code, Notepad, choose one and why.
Okay, so I don't know why it took so long to ask about IDE. I don't know. You are a bit rusty here. I use VS Code, and for the simple reason is that is the most popular. And since I create tutorials, I want something that that it's a popular and mainstream on purpose. I don't like to have multiple IDEs. Like I don't like to have multiple browsers, for example. So usually I use only one, and if I make a switch, for example, to NVim or Cursor or anyone else, I will do the whole switch and I'll just use that the whole day. Except for the fact if there is, I don't know, an IDE which is, I don't know, Visual Studio, for example, for C Sharp, it's more used as Visual Studio, not Visual Studio Code. So if there is a specific reason, I will use a specific editor. Otherwise, I'll just use something because and I mean, we can talk about all the pros and cons. I've used that in the past. For example, I use BI a lot, like on a not Vim, but like the very basic version when I am on a PC when I need to change something. I know how to use it just to make some changes on a remote server. That's I think nice to know. Otherwise, you are dependent on VS Code. So if you needed, I use the simple, very simple VI, which is by default everywhere. And apart from that, to write code, I use Visual Studio. I've used Cursor for a while. The problem with Cursor is that I can't deactivate it. For example, let's say that I want to write code, but for some reason I don't want to have GitHub. I use GitHub Copilot. I don't want to have GitHub Copilot because I want to show a tutorial when I write things letter by letter. In Cursor, I should like remove Cursor and add the VS Code. So I need something that I can change. For example, so for me that I'm creating tutorials, if I want to show, I don't know, me typing stuff, probably you can remove all the functionalities in Cursor, but I like the fact that you can activate and deactivate it. And I didn't when I tried to install Cursor, I also had an issue that I couldn't have like Cursor and VS Code both working like on the terminal, so it was a bit hard to, for example, like do like cursor space dot and open things, but then the code command has been replaced, so I just decided to remove it. I'll probably try it again soon.
Okay. Which would be the next language or framework disrupting the web development? Currently, I think Next.js is leading, but in the next few years, will there be a new competitor?
Mhm. Yes, so in terms of language, I am a bit biased, but I want to bet on Rust, even in web development. So we'll probably see this growing in web development. So I don't know if it will be the most mainstream, but I think we'll have a similar path of what happened with Python. So if there is a language which is becomes popular, then we will have some frameworks, I don't know, like Django or Flask or Fast API. So I would like to see Rust more in web development, but that's my own little dream, I would say. Uh, I think Node.js for now it's really strong. I would say the thing I don't like much is that it's a bit like closed ecosystem. So even if I would use it, it keeps you like a bit dependent. I don't like to be dependent on a specific um, platform or a specific framework. So it doesn't give too much freedom. Probably for if I needed to create a project today for tomorrow, I will still use Next.js and Vercel because it's very easy. So they really care about the developer experience. I saw today that they made a deal even with XAI. So they made like a partnership with XAI, the one from X from. So they will probably still do great things, but I will still understand like how the JavaScript ecosystem works. Otherwise, you will be absolutely dependent on everything the Next.js will dictate. So that's the.
Okay. Being obsessed with NVim, is it okay?
Uh, I mean, why not? It's like you say, like I like pineapple on pizza. Is it okay? Yes, why not? Like we don't agree, but we can still live maybe in separate places. Like you live like close to Aditya, and I stay in my house. No, I'm joking. Jokes aside, jokes aside, I would say don't be too dependent. We as developers we tend to be a bit too much dependent on tools. We became like like a crusader of single tools. This is like rooting for a specific sports team. It's fine if we want to have fun and have memes. It's fine, of course, but we should never like be absolutely dependent on a tool. For example, a classic example: I use Docker and I love Docker. Does this stops me to even try Vercel deployment? No. So I am open to try something else. So s- stay curious and open to things. And of course, if you want to have a funny and a fighting chat, we can have it. But that's it. Probably you also use the VS Code sometimes, and you have a favorite IDE. That's great. The IDE is just a tool to write the code. Like for example, is the tool to test API. Every single time I do
Yeah.
a video, a live stream, when I use Postman to test API, there is someone in the freaking comments saying, "Why are you using this? Why don't you use this this amazing extension, this amazing tool, this amazing?"
Yeah.
I'm just testing the API. It's like I'm writing, and you say, "Why are you using that pen? Use that other pen. It's way better." It's fine. I'm just using this now. So that's. But I mean, if we want to have fun, it's nice to talk about tools, but they are tools to create things.
Hmm.
So that's we should focus more on like final product. But I'm a developer too, so we can have a fight if you want. Christian, you can invite me to your YouTube channel. We can have a fight.
Live YouTube fight between Francesco and Coding Adda. Let's assume you are taking an interview. What would be the go-to project that will pique your interest in that particular interview is resume.
So I'm the interviewer.
Yeah, you are the interviewer.
Yes, I would say something which is relevant for the company. So I would say if it's a company which is, I don't know, again, a company which is something that uses like GPS and application, I want to see if you are proficient in that area. So there is not a specific answer to this. Probably a Docker file will just touch my heart, but that's something that I can't be, let's say, absolutely unbiased. So probably I will open the Docker file and Docker Compose file right now, but that's just because if you know that I'm the interviewer, then you'll probably Dockerize your application, so you know the soft spot. And apart from that, yes, something which is relevant for the company. So, for example, the company has, I don't know, their front end in React. If you present a project which is not in that framework, probably it's worse than presenting something which is relevant to that company. So probably you should understand the tech stack of the company who is interviewing you, and then prepare a project which uses this same technology, so you know that you show that you are proficient in that one. So not something super niche that has nothing to do. I don't know, like no, we are a company, we are of development, and you bring a great example of something written in C. See, I can say great, but it's not relevant to us. So something which is relevant to that company. So be curious, spy, and understand if they're open source. Try to get what's their stack and create a project with that stack. That's
I think it is very important to do the homework, like before giving an interview, homework about what the company is, what the company does, and what is the main goal of the company. Because I think that will eventually help you get a better advantage of in the while giving the interview. Because it's like the interviewer will also know, like, yeah, this guy has done his or her homework about this particular company before giving the interview. Yeah, Vercel is the best platform for developers to host front end. I have hosted around 30 projects on Vercel and Render. Yeah, I too have hosted around, yeah, plus one. I too have hosted 30 projects because it was one of the easiest ways to host any particular project. But when it comes to actual deployment, when you are deploying on a server, it's one of the tedious tasks, and it is one of the most uh, tasks where you have to be patient a lot while the deployment. So yeah, this is one of the good.
Yeah, first of all, I think
Platforms.
Vercel is mostly for front end and Next
Yeah,
application. So, I mean, if you just write an SJS project, probably you do Vercel. If you write a backend in Django, probably you're not using Vercel to deploy it. So, it really depends on the stack. I prefer to not be tied to render, to not be tied to Vercel. I prefer to have my Docker files and then deploy whatever I want. So that's my approach, and I'm probably write more backend stuff. So that's the point of view. And but yeah, it really depends on the type of project. If you write in
yeah.
SJS, it makes sense.
Is it necessary that a developer's first job should be a technical one?
um, I mean, a developer. I mean, a developer should be technical. I mean, maybe he's talking about developer relations or something else. So if you're talking about developer, probably the first one in okay. So it does. So nothing is written in stone. From my point of view, is better maybe because my path, and also as most of the people that I know that now are developer advocates, you start with technical one and then you move to showcase those technical skills, because doing the opposite maybe not impossible, but it's like the guy who first they start an XJS and then they have to come back. So if you start with developer relations, it depends. If you don't like coding and if you're more focused on community building, creating events, probably don't even know to code. I know some friends, they're not coders, but they help in organizing big tech events. They create tech communities, but they are not coding. If you like to code and then you get a job which is not involved into technical things, that you might get a bit messy, and you don't know what to do. So I will I will probably look for a technical role as your first one, and then eventually move on. I don't know if you're talking about developer relations or more like project manager, but that's my point of view. I think I will start with a technical one, and then it's easier to move. That is because also it's been my path, so I find this more natural.
Okay. Francesco, what are you working on currently?
Many things. The main focus is a Rust book that I'm currently working on and should be out in 2/3 months. We don't know exactly the date yet. And then I'm creating videos. I'm working on some videos behind the scenes. Like I have to record and edit. I have one with for Solana, one for with Sevalla, and then other videos with Rust. Anything else? I'm working on the my upcoming conferences and talks. They also start to overlap. So, for example, I have a conference online the same day of a conference that I'm going in person. I already know how this will end in me like splitting and cloning myself with AI. And I think that's it for now. So I'm more focused on that part, and then of course the last video I'm working on those, and that's it.
Okay, we have one more question. What if we do tech support job and simultaneously do a tech stuff like freelancing? So, like basically, tech support in India, it's like whenever there is an issue for any product, they call up the tech support, like, "Hey, tech support, how may I help you?" So the question comes around: what if
Mhm.
the job is about tech support and simultaneously they are doing a technical proper development stuff like freelancing?
Yeah, probably if you're doing that, you will. If you're doing this tech stuff freelancing, probably you are dreaming about do that freelancing. Otherwise, you'll just do your tech support job. So that's my idea. Like if you are dedicating some time extra, that's probably is something what to do. I've been doing a double life for most of my life. Like I was doing like a volleyball coach while doing a CS degree, and then while like for example private lessons, and then for example now I do some dev job and also content creation. So I am the master of doing things simultaneously. It's a hard life, but I I think that as soon as you are young and you can do it, I would say why not? Because I like the idea of having, for example, something which gives me like a, a way to sleep well. So I don't know how we're sleeping currently, Christian, but if you are doing this tech support job, I think this gives you like the most of the income now compared to the freelancing one. So I'll use that as something solid that gives you solid maybe I don't know, maybe the base I don't know to live alone, which is a great would be a great plus, for example, and and then and then why not? So I will start doing some freelancing, probably just focusing on social media presence and trying to get some clients, maybe remote. Maybe you can get paid
Okay.
more. I don't know.
Okay. We have one more question. I think Hari is the one who is like having a lot of questions today. He's like continuously asking
It's fine.
because I see his name coming
We'll give
continuously.
we'll give a total bill based on the questions you made, but at the end, keep doing questions, keep giving questions.
He has a question. Francesco, we would like you to share some insider about Daily.dev.
Yes, sure. So DailyDev is this platform for developers. So they are moving more on let's say on focusing on the DailyDev Plus feature, which is a paid one. Nothing wrong with that. We are also doing once a month DevRel roundtable. I highly recommend you to come and drop all these questions. This will make everyone happy. So subscribe to the Daily Dev YouTube channel too, and that's it. So that's and I think it's great to have this platform for developers, fully focused on developers. You can have squads, you can have sub communities. So that's I really highly recommend to check it out, and probably you also get some free traffic, which is never hurts. I'll probably also put this link on the dev, so Aditya will get some extra traffic. I think we met because of the dev.
Yeah, yeah. I we met
Sab.
initially with Sab. I had a
Ah,
meet. I was like, I want to create a
okay,
video.
I
So
remember. Yeah,
he contacted
perfect.
you. So yeah, it's like, yeah, particularly if I say, guys, it's like a very good platform. Particularly, I did not like to read any blogs. I was a guy who used to watch videos, but you won't believe at my workspace, like in my corporate life, also after my work is done, on my free time, I go into Delhi.dev and like just see what's happening around the world. And recently, they launched the mobile application as well. So it was like a cherry on the top. because I didn't have to open up the laptop and see for the blogs. I would just get the blogs on my mobile. Yeah, it's it's pretty good platform. You can get a lot of things and um, learn a lot of things. And yeah, it's like Francesco, we would love to have you again on the channel. Yeah,
Absolutely, maybe not tomorrow, but
yeah.
yes, we can for sure we can come again, maybe once in a while. So we have the series of Francesco. Yes, why not? Usually, like, the channel is nice and legit. I usually really rarely I decline an invite unless I'm traveling around the world. In that case, otherwise you'll have a very raw setup with a very bad microphone. So I want just to avoid that. I think we've been
Yeah.
planning this for a while. My fault, of
Yeah.
course. I've been running and hiding away, but Aditya is very stubborn,
Finally, we
and
are together on one place. And
Aditya is
he
very
also
stubborn.
has
I really
something to say you.
appreciate his patience.
Next time we would sure fight on VS Code and NVIM.
Okay, but then we want you on screen. So you, if you want to have a fight, then I will choose some rules. So I want you to be on screen, and then we can have a fight.
Yeah, he's sure here. He'll just come on the screen. He's here only. He's just sitting right
Yo,
beside me.
yo.
There we go. There we go. Perfect. So
Next
get
time
Yeah.
ready.
you
Get
both
ready to
have.
get ready to get roasted. Zero chances. But
So
yes,
yeah,
yes.
he's a guy who is into Vim, and whenever we talk, he's like, "Bro, code on Vim. Vim is something different." And I am a guy who is
So
on VS Code.
yeah, so it's the classic guy who has no friends, basically. So basically,
Yeah.
whenever you have to talk to someone, say, "Okay, Navim," and then everyone is just running away. So, is this
You,
true or not?
I don't think you
Pretty much
don't
it's
need
true.
another time to like roast him. You can just start, and I'll just leave. You can just start roasting on VS Code and him.
You see, slowly he's pushing you away. You see, he's coming up in the screen and slowly he's pushing you away. So if we keep going for 10 more minutes, we'll have him on the microphone
Yeah.
and you'll just be left off. So your YouTube channel has been basically stolen. So that's it.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, and yeah, it was like lovely having you, Francisco, over here. And yeah, on that note, I would like to just say to everyone, on the occasion of us reaching 3,000 subscribers, I have put it up on LinkedIn and on my WhatsApp as well. But I would like to just say that with all your love, guys, we have launched our first ever ebook. It's Basics of Prompt Engineering, and it's like understanding the fundamentals of prompt engineering from scratch. And I have been taking inspiration from Francesco because I have been looking up for the Rust book, and it's pretty good book. I have also read some pages. I have not read completely, but after the last video that we had made on daily.dev, I was really inspired to start writing one of a kind of a book. And it's only because of you that I got an inspiration to like start reading. And I've just it's available on Amazon and Kindle. It's like very less price. It's not even a huge amount, but yeah, you can check it out. And yeah, it's on all on the occasion. Like everything has come to place today. Like we launched the ebook, we got to have a live session with you, we crossed 3,000 subscribers. So it's like cherry on the top plus that Hershey's syrup, everything together. So yeah, it was lovely having you, Francesco, over on this channel. And yeah, we'll surely plan to have more such live sessions, maybe something around like a live workshop where we can like create some projects. And hoping to see all of you guys soon in the next one. And yeah, thank you for all the love that you have been showering on this channel. And I would obviously tell everyone to like subscribe to Francesco's YouTube channel. He creates a crazy videos on Rust and other stuffs. And do uh, have the Chrome extension daily dev. It's crazy if you are a developer, and it's going to change your life as for sure. And if it does not change, then please tell me or tell Francesco. And yeah, thank you everyone for hopping up on the live, and see you guys in the next one. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Okay, I think okay. Yeah, it was a crazy one, man.
Did you like it?
I loved it.